Joel!
We're rolling.
Two dudes in the stew. We finally got you in here.
Yes. Happy to be here.
All right, so for everybody, I know I've talked about it so many times, but Joel's our CTO. He is here live in the flesh. He's not behind his computer coding. I have no idea what goes on behind that screen, but we're here to learn a lot more about what you're doing, how you got introduced to My Home, you know, how was your time going working here and everything, and just I want to hear all about you. So let's start with just introduction, bring me back, Joel, how did you start in, becoming a software developer, engineer, all of that?
Yeah, so I started, actually, I went to MTSU for a marketing degree. And while I was there...
really quick, we have a lot of marketing degrees in my home.
Well, I didn't get a marketing degree. I started, and then my buddy told me I was too ugly for marketing, and I should try computers. So, no, but honestly, that did happen, and I was too ugly for marketing, so now here I am at computers.
Oh my God.
I started doing computer information systems there, and my good buddy at the time, he told me that was actually, he was a year ahead of me, and he was like, when you graduate, I'll hire you. So you got a job out already if you want to do that. So that was a pretty big incentive, because I had no idea what I was going to do with marketing. And when I got out, I got hired by him, and I was really the only programmer at the small tax shop in Murfreesboro. And I just, I was thrown into the wolves. I had no idea really what I was doing. I was Googling everything. I had like 600 posts on the Microsoft forums asking basic questions, and they were getting fulfilled. People were helping me out all the time. So It was a really good growing experience. And that kind of like set the stage for the rest of my career. And I was addicted to it right after that.
Yeah.
Because it was really like seeing somebody use something that you made is like a really addictive feeling.
Yeah.
And that's why I really enjoy this field, and I just find it so rewarding.
Like actual tangible results.
Yeah, people being like, oh man, that really saved me a lot of time, or you just really helped out the company. Like that feeling is really, really addictive. It's a dopamine rush that you get just from like, I don't know, as nerdy as it sounds, like making something and seeing it be useful.
Yeah.
That to me is just why I love it so much.
So then where'd you go from there?
So from there, I got hired at a healthcare shop called eDoc4U, and I got that job because I met a recruiter like 2 years earlier in college who called me back. And it was actually, I'm lucky he called me because that tax shop I was working at went out of business, and like a week before they did, he called me and I got an interview and got the job there.
Nice.
So I worked at eDoc4U for 3 years, and that was really, really a good growing experience because I learned from really senior guys. I wasn't just the only guy there. I didn't have to Google everything anymore.
Yep.
I felt like I was kind of in my own at that point. So that was a great opportunity. So I enjoyed that. And then from there, I went to a company called L3 Force X, which was in Clarksville. And that was really kind of like, I've been chasing that dragon ever since. It was just so fun. So yeah, a lot of
Hopefully you kind of found it a little.
I caught the dragon. I'm back. But no, that was the first time in my career I actually had like really good mentors and people I really looked up to, took me under their wing, showed me the way, and how to be like a professional, not just like a problem solver or a coder. It was like, this is how you become a true professional at your craft. So that was great.
What were some of the, I don't know if it's like classified or anything, but what were some of the projects that you worked on when you were there?
I worked on 2 AFSOC aircraft. One is the AC-130, and then the other one is probably still classified. So what we really did there was work on mission management software, and when you're flying in an aircraft and you're in the sky, you don't have any map in front of you, we had applications that would fly out on a little fold-up TV, and it would show you where you were, what your cameras were looking at, anything on the map where your allies or enemies were. You could watch the feed from the drone cameras. You could send that feed down to the soldiers.
Yeah, like ATAC almost.
Yeah, it's just like ATAC. Every piece of hardware on the aircraft was integrated in the software, so you could change radio frequencies. You could do everything. So I went from making healthcare websites to that.
That's intense.
Those guys that I joined up with, I luckily got put on a really, really important program at a really important time, and had really great mentors that just like opened up the floodgates for me.
Yeah.
And that's how I built lifelong relationships, guys that I still talk to today. And
did you have a team too? Like
I had a team. I started out just as a junior engineer, and then I eventually ended up taking over as a team lead for that classified aircraft. Got to fly on it a few times. I mean, that's the coolest thing to me about software is like when I was in MTSU, I never would have thought software would take me on an aircraft.
Right.
Or here, or like to this role. So I feel really blessed that I've gotten to do super interesting things. And some of that is luck and some of that is just like right place, right time. But it's all working hard, like hard work will take you and reward you to those places. So yeah, I look back at it very fondly. Like,
I mean, you were like developer of the year. Am I saying that correctly, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was there, yeah.
That's pretty
That was
cool.
actually really fun. So the story
You gotta
behind
brag
that-
about yourself a little bit
I gotta
here.
tell you that story because it's actually really fun. So we were at the company Christmas party, and our president and chief of engineering was actually an old customer of ours, and he actually helped us develop like one of our very first programs. A brilliant dude. He actually became president and CEO of Sierra Nevada Corporation, L3 proper. He's been around the block.
Wow.
So I'd worked my tail off on this one program for a long time, and I remember I was at the Christmas party and he was handing out these gold carabiners, and that was like his signature to you. That, like, you got this. This is like, this is the key. So he's passing them out, and he did one for every department. So when he got to software engineering, I was sitting there with my wife, and I like nudged her. I was like, this would be awesome if it's me. And it was. And like, I went like, I just was like probably about to cry. I was so excited.
Yep.
And I got up, and like nobody else had given like a speech. I was like, I love you guys. I just like cried. I was like, thanks everybody, I love you. Like trying to like hold it back. But yeah, that was probably the highlight of my career. Just because I didn't see it coming.
Yep.
I'd worked really hard. And
they recognized it. They saw
recognized
that.
It, yeah. And nobody gave me a heads up.
Yep.
It was just a total surprise. So that was a really special moment.
That's
I saw that
really
carabiner
awesome.
sitting right next to my computer.
Yep.
I look at it all the time. Whenever I'm feeling down or need like a pick me up, I'm like, that's right, I did that.
Yeah.
It feels great. So
that's so cool. I mean, just getting those little like tokens of appreciation and just like acknowledgement for like hard work and just everything that you brought to the team. I mean, it just makes such a difference.
It really does. Like I went in and just jazzed every day after that. I put it on my resume. I bold it up, make sure everybody sees it.
Yep.
Like, it's definitely something that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. And then so you went from L3 over to the Titans?
I did, yeah. I was the first full-time in-house developer for the Titans. I'm a huge Titans fan. So
do you like know the players?
I did. I knew all of them. I mean, personally, no.
I mean, but like
I knew every single one of them.
Yeah, okay.
Just like in the stat, I knew everything about them because I did that before I was a fan. I just kept up with everything. But starting there was also really, really fun and an exciting place to work. Like,
what were some of the things that you were working on with them?
When I started working there, they had some old legacy systems, but nothing current, nothing in use. They were literally faxing written reports to the GM about players. So they would write on a piece of notepad, scan it, and fax it. And there was just boxes upon boxes.
Sounds very old school.
It was very old school. That's probably why we were so bad for a long time. But when I started there, they said we want scouting software for college and pro players. And that kind of evolved to like draft day tools and medical resources and college and pro. So it was a really good experience. I was the only one there for I think 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work, a lot of hard work. And you realize kind of in that industry when you're working with like non-tech folks or, tech isn't the primary objective, that you really got to step up a little bit more and make yourself, you're your own advocate at that point. There's nobody was giving me performer of the year there. Like they looked at me like, if this doesn't work,
you're the guy.
Like,
yeah.
It either works or it doesn't. So, that was still a really great time. I got to go to the games. I worked for the NFL and the scoreboard. They put me up in the scoreboard just taking pictures of players. So that was fun. It was special. It was a really special time. I think COVID kind of ruined the shine of working at the NFL. I had to stay at home.
Yep.
Didn't get to have any of the fun, no meals, no gym sessions.
Right, all like the perks. Yeah.
So that kind of took a little shine off of it, but it was still a great time.
And then was it within that time frame where you were working for the Titans that you started your own company, or did that come later? Yeah,
so the old users for that aircraft that I worked on at Forcex called me, and they said, we're kind of sick of paying Forcex. Sorry, Forcex. Can we just pay you instead? And yeah, it was the perfect opportunity. At that point, I was able to quit my job at the Titans, start my own company. I learned a lot at that point, like how to start a business, what it means to log expenses, try and build business, network. I was traveling all the time, just showing off and trying to build business. And it worked marginally well, but at the end of the day, like it just wasn't the right time and the right place for me. So then you guys came along.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm feeling blessed ever since.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So I know you and Gabe had met through a mutual friend. Yeah, and then just talk a little bit about like what excited you about it. I mean, we were nothing. We were an idea.
Yeah. Well, as a programmer, everyone tends to call you with their good ideas and wants to show you, their creativity and why you should work for them or why you should spend your time working on their ideas. And so I've gotten a ton of just mediocre, ideas through the days of doing this. But when I got your pitch deck, I looked at it and I thought, wow, like this actually has legs. I was looking through the slides and I was like, I would use this. And that's really when I've never had anybody come to me with an idea that I was like, I would do it. I would use that. Yes. So yeah. So I thought it was a really good idea. And then also when I built my business and left the Titans, I got, I had some business partners with me that were great friends, really great friends. And that's not the only thing required to build a great business. You got to see somebody who you think is like better than you or somebody that you see and want to achieve what they've done or like be in their company. And so when I saw you and Gabe and met you guys, I realized like this is who I want to be around. These are the kind of folks that are really driven and are going to push me and take me to that next level and get out of the comfort zone and build a business with. So yeah, it was a combination of a good idea and good potential partners. Yeah, that made me realize. And
now you no longer have to log expenses.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't have to go and. I mean, this is probably the closest I come to like BD and sales than anything else. So, yeah, that was the number one thing was the potential for the product and then also the company and the folks that I'd be working with was really exciting.
Yeah. So starting from, day one, where we were back then to where we are now, what are some of the changes that you've seen over time and like what excites you about where the product is right now? And, when you wake up every morning, what's like the driving factor behind, getting to work and getting cranking on everything?
Yeah, I think I really have seen the product take off, and I think that's a testament to how well we are just trying to find what works and we're willing to to change visions or to take a risk on something new. And I really think that the product is going to evolve over time. I mean, what we're looking at right now is, what we're going to launch with and what we think customers and vendors will be excited about. But once we get the feedback, I know that we've got the team that can change and shift and make sure that the priorities stay on top for whatever we need. So that's really exciting. And then, I just think I think that, it's just one of those things where I actually forgot the question.
Oh, it was just like what? Well, I actually asked you like 3 questions in one. That was unfair on my part.
No, I just couldn't remember what else. I was like, can I say everything?
Well, let's kind of pivot a little bit into. We can go back to like what motivates you and everything, but like let's pivot a little bit into the features of MyHome. Like what are some of the things that you're currently working on right now that you're building to implement for the homeowner and for the vendor?
Yeah, right now we're working on the Stripe payment system, and that's been really exciting. I think it's going to be super fun and convenient for the homeowner and the vendor. I also think one thing that's going to be really exciting is just the way the app flows and the way the data presents itself. There's no refreshing, or it just feels like an organic thing that you're using. It feels like you're in real time and you need to be using it or you're going to miss out. Or, and I really love how we're taking a lot of things from some other platforms and building them into one. All the inconvenient parts about Nextdoor and texting and getting multiple quotes and having to do all that organization yourself. It's fun to just have them all roll up on your app and be like, oh man, I'm empowered. Like the homeowner's empowered, but also the vendor is too. Like you both get the opportunity to find the deal that suits you. And I think that is kind of a fun system to use. And I think people are really going to enjoy that.
I mean, especially in such a fragmented ecosystem, which we see like the home services space right now. As a homeowner yourself, you have a lawn care company that you're leaving a check in the mailbox. Then you have your housekeeper who you have to remember to Venmo, and it's impossible to know what day of the week they're coming and if they reschedule, keeping up with all the changes and everything. At least with MyHome now, everything is consolidated onto one platform for all of your services.
Yeah, that's a really big perk. And then I think that when a vendor comes to you as a homeowner and they put their best foot forward, it really feels like they care about you. Like I've had a lot of experiences as a homeowner where I'm trying to find a vendor and I'm like, I get off the phone, I'm like, why won't somebody take my money?
Yeah.
Like I've got the check here. Tell me to make it out, who to make it out to, and you will get paid.
Yep.
And it's just hard sometimes to find the breadth of vendors that are willing to like come to you and be like, I'm looking for your business. And so like, I think that's honestly kind of a game changer in some ways. Like it puts the power back in the homeowner's perspective, and you can get quotes, or you can say, I'm just waiting for that really good deal to pop in my inbox.
Yep, so. Exactly. And then we also built in like the neighborhood social aspect of it too, for the referral base. You want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, I think that's going to be really fun. Like right now, I just had a landscaper come by, and he was recommended from my parents. He found him off next door. And then when I looked him up on next door, he's like the hot commodity in the neighborhood. Like everyone's trying to use him. And I think that when you can see that going through the app on your neighborhood, it's just on the homepage and seeing who your neighbors are using and what they thought of them and befores and afters, vendor picks, I think that you kind of get that feeling of I'm gonna keep up with everyone in the neighborhood by using the same guy. His lawn looks great. I've got to use that dude.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be a big perk, and I think it'll be fun, honestly, to just see what your neighbors are up to and not have to get through all the ads and all of the just hubbub of other social media platforms where you're trying to find home or service providers. This one I think is just right there on the landing page.
And it just consolidates everything into one. You don't have to go to all these different, like you said before, all these different platforms to get the information that you're looking for. You don't have to get 15 phone calls from 15 different vendors in order to get one quote.
Yeah, I've actually gone and knocked on my neighbor's door. Not my neighbor, but somebody right on my street. They got a retaining wall built, and I was like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I had to find their name in the company or in the neighborhood directory, call them and ask them if I could come talk to them, show up at their door, and talk to them about the retaining wall when I could have just like clicked it and been like, I want a quote, or like, tell me more about this, So I think that people are going to do a lot more exploring when it comes to home services. I think they're going to just like think of things that they wouldn't have thought of by themselves just because their neighbor does something that looks great.
And I think too, it'll be really shocking for people to see the instant quote up front too, because they'll realize it's actually probably a lot cheaper than what they had anticipated if it was a service they haven't been using before.
Right. I think so too. Or like, it'll allow them to plan for that. Like, you can save up and be like, okay, that's a goal I can achieve for that retaining wall. I know that's what happened to me. So, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be really fun to use. And then, after you bookmark one, I think in the future what we end up doing when we start having conversations about these referrals or, not just doing a like or dislike or saving it for later, like I think it'd be really great to have conversations about vendors start there, and vendors are going to appreciate it, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully.
I mean, you can just see the amount of like interviews that we've done with them and conversations that we've had with them, because that's what's really, yes, we're building the app for the homeowner, but the vendors are the ones that are driving everything. We have to nail those features in that portion so that we can have the vendors on the platform, because building a marketplace is pretty challenging.
It is, and it's been tried before, it's been done before.
Yeah.
But I think what's exciting about this from the vendor's perspective is it's free up front. You don't get charged to like interact with a customer. You get that free chatting, you get the free offer of your services, you get to build that rapport before
you get to put your bid in.
Right, you put in your bid, and it's not like it's a hassle or like a pain in the butt to like do that, or it's going to cost you money to perform your business as a business owner. Like that's a barrier that we're breaking with this. So I think that people are going to I think vendors are really going to like that. They can be competitive, they can get their point across, and they can do it for free.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big difference.
It gets them back to doing what they love to do, which is like actually providing for the homeowner, actually doing the services, solving the problems, instead of having to, pay X amount of dollars to get a false lead.
Right. And if you got a job that wasn't the perfect fit for you, but you still wanted to take a stab at it, that's going to cost you money for them in those older systems. In ours, not only do you get to pick out the jobs for your business that you're interested in, but you also get to do that for free, and you get to get a paying customer. I think that it's really going to be, as soon as it catches on from that aspect, I think it's going to transform the way that vendors wake up in the morning at 5:30, get their stuff gassed up, get ready to go, and then start looking for jobs.
Yep, they start checking MyHome.
Yeah, so start checking MyHome and build your schedule for the week.
Exactly.
On Sunday night when you're sitting there.
I mean, you can do it from your couch, like literally.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. I think that's going to be something that is really going to catch on with a lot of folks. So you don't have to check next door. You don't have to like go through your texts and your Venmos. I just think it's going to be fun.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the uniqueness of the two-sided rating system?
Yeah, I think that it's pretty unique in the aspect that I mentioned it before, but the way that vendors are going to be able to find their perfect job the same way that homeowners can find the perfect fit for them.
Yeah.
So I really think that it's going to be nice to have options in your app right in front of you at the time that you are making this bid or you're getting offers. I think that I think it's just a really good fit for both parties. Like, we don't want to be the concierge that is really just doing an up-service Google search for you and doing your conversations. We want you to have the power to pick who you want and find the deal that suits you with the vendor that suits you. In the same way, the vendor wants to look for jobs that suit them. So if they want to stick to one area, they can do that. Or if they want to build a pattern and go through their week the way that they want to, they can do that. So I think it's just giving a lot of power to people like that, for the vendor and the homeowner.
And then one of the cool features too is the calendar integration, right? So like once the homeowner and or the vendor, accepts the job, it gets built into their calendar, and then they can export that calendar into Outlook, into Google, whatever they use for their daily calendar.
Exactly. Yeah, it's those little convenient things that I think, and we'll continue to do that over time. Like, we're building these in with what we think, and when we get feedback from users and vendors about what else would be done, like, I think we're going to take other steps there to make it more convenient for both parties.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an exciting time as the product evolves. Like, that's an opportunity for us for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, let's get into some of like the fun, nerdy stuff.
Sure.
First, I'm just enthralled by how well you've been able to keep everything so organized. Like, we are constantly changing and evolving and throwing new features and, getting customer validation on one thing and being like, actually, you know what, we got to tailor it to this, we got to fix that. How do you keep everything so organized when it's every single day, it's just a fire hose of new things?
Yeah, that's a good question. And like, honestly, I surprise myself with that sometimes because I'm really not an organized person. I'm not like every drawer is a junk drawer kind of, but like, I think that you have to, just to stay sane. Like, there's some days, if I'm a little foggy, I'm like, where was I? It takes me a long time to just get my to-do list in order. But what I really do every day is wake up, take a look at Jira, which is just our running task list. Then I'll do myself a priority list of to-dos for the day. And really, even if I've already done something, I put it on my to-do list, because I really feel like that productive ball gets rolling when you're able to mark things off your list, no matter how small. So I have typically like a weekly goal for what I'm trying to get done, and then a daily or sometimes hourly goal for what I'm trying to do. And, typically I'll be doing things, and if it spawns off something that I forgot about, I'll put it at the bottom of my list, and that's where I pick up the next day.
Yeah.
So I think just like waking up and, reading the news, having a coffee, thinking like intently about what you need to achieve for the day. And then, I really get a lot of satisfaction for crossing things off lists.
I write everything down too. I totally understand that. Like, I will do something, and then even if it wasn't on my to-do list, I will write it on my to-do list just so I can cross it.
Yeah, me too. Like, that feeling right there is almost like a lottery ticket. I'm like, did I win today?
I did it.
Yeah, so that's honestly that satisfaction. That method has kept me pretty strong the whole time. Just the daily to-do list. But keeping it at a bird's eye view too. You've got to be able to plan out, 2-3 months in advance.
Yeah.
To the best of your ability. I mean, that's not ever going to be perfect, but.
But then there's also like keeping Andrew, as proactive as he is. Now that we have Corey on board, making sure that Corey is like tied in with everything and getting him spun up, and keeping him as engaged as possible too. Like, that's a lot to put on your plate when you're also building, this pretty robust product.
Yeah, I think, I've got a lot of experience in just like talking with product designers and managers and DevOps and testing crew just throughout my career. So I've been lucky to have juggled that hat before. And some people, they get overwhelmed by it, but like, I really enjoy knowing about everything. I'm not a micromanager, but I do want to know what everybody's doing because it helps me do my job better. If I can, and Andrew's gotten so much better at writing requirements since we started that now I look at him and sometimes I'm just like, way to go.
Nailed it.
Way to go. Nailed it. So I don't have to ask any questions. I just look at the ticket. It's what I have to do. And then I do it. And like, that just keeps everything running really, really smoothly. So I would say that's probably, that's been the key to like managing or working with other people in that regard, is just like everyone's staying on the same page. We all know what we're doing. And, it helps Corey and Andrew too. They can say, all right, you're doing that. I'm going to work on the next 2 weeks of work that you haven't even thought of yet. So that's a really good way to operate.
Yeah, and then we have our like weekly syncs. And then we have anytime we need to do some sort of sync in any regard, a whiteboarding session, we just throw on the calendar and we all just sit down and put our heads together.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about not only the startup scene, but this company, and just like, we get to sit down and chat and work with each other. And I think that is just...
Nothing's in a bubble.
Nothing's in a bubble. There's no bad ideas. we've all said stuff in here that everyone's just kind of been like, no, or,
Yeah.
you know, like, nice try. So
I think I'm the worst at that. I'm like, that's stupid.
No, it's not that. I mean, you know, the first couple weeks here, I mean, we would be asking each other questions about how it would work and just be like, all right, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that later. You know, let's just keep it moving. And I think that little forward progress every day is you know, kind of a must-have.
Well, because it's so hard to prioritize to figure out, you know, what do we exactly need to nail at this point when we have so much in our vision.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It's tough.
It is, yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about our tech stack. You know, what are some of the things that you've implemented that we have built in, you know, some of the actual like tech behind MyHome?
Yeah. So, you know, before I worked at MyHome, I was doing a lot of embedded software. So it was really like small boards, small electronics. I had spent a lot of time in the web world for a while. So getting back into mobile development was some new arena for me that I hadn't worked on in a few years. And I just started researching, you know, the most modern tech stacks. And I knew that if we were going to start, I actually wanted to start with a web app first, not a mobile application, because I was just more familiar with it and I thought we'd be able to get it done faster. But in this day and age, with the amount of information out there and the amount of research and development other people have done on this, I found a good framework called Expo, and it actually is one code base for Android, web, and iOS. So that seemed like a no-brainer at the time. And then I started looking up more details about it, and it had a ton of great reviews. A lot of programmers saying that they've never been this efficient, they've never gotten this much done that looks so great in a small amount of time. And it's really a programming language that Facebook came up with. React Native. So it was kind of a no-brainer once I started working with it. How quickly I spun up some really great looking prototypes. I was like, oh, this is it. This is the one. So we've got an Expo Go React Native front end, and then we've got a Mongo and Node back end, which is just, honestly, it's been a dream. It's been so easy to work with. It's really, really modern. I don't have any questions about if it's going to get phased out or replaced or rendered obsolete in 3 years. It's definitely on the up and up. So I think once I felt comfortable with it, like in my experience, I've never been the kind of guy who's using bleeding edge technology, especially on the web world, because it always gets replaced after a little bit. But not in this case. I think we really picked the right stack with this. And it's made development so much faster and better. And everyone that looks at the app is like, wow, that looks great. So that kind of reinforces the idea that we picked the right test.
And then for like data storage and privacy and everything, I mean, you know, a lot of their home's information is going to be stored within our data system. So what are we using in order to protect homeowners' data and vendors' data as well?
Yeah, I mean, we've got all the latest and greatest from the cloud perspective using AWS and all their security features. On top of that, all the payment stuff is going through Stripe, which is already, you know, not stored in our database. We're really storing the bare essentials for you and your home to be able to achieve this goal. So the most personal information that we've got in there is probably zip code and address, like you know, phone book kind of stuff. It's nothing in there that's too crazy. So, but all that said, like we've got all the industry standards. We've got two-factor authentication. We've got everything in place that you would expect from an enterprise app. And I think that a lot of that was due to the stack we chose, and also like Corey helping out on the DevOps side, making sure that it's all secure and we're following all the best practices. So, I really think that we picked a good stack for security and compliance and everything that comes along with those rules too.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so obviously the tech world is constantly, it's changing, it's updating, new things are coming out. What do you read? Like news sources? Who are you subscribed to? Like, where's your source for like the best and like latest and greatest like tech news?
Yeah, honestly, YouTube. Like I follow a lot of content creators on YouTube that are like bleeding edge, like technologists or you know, fanboys of certain tech stacks, or just very experienced developers. Like I follow some good guys that work at Netflix, and they always just post even 45 minutes a day. They'll talk about a tech stack or a problem they ran into, or they'll just go on and find blogs and read them and tell them your opinion against this one.
Yeah.
So it's really great to debate those certain things. But I think you know, Twitter is honestly great too. I do a lot of Twitter, but I read a lot of blogs from companies that I really admire, like, you know, NVIDIA and OpenAI. I read a lot of their data because I feel like they're on the cusp of something really special. So when it comes from like advanced technology stuff, I read that, and then I stay up and current with a lot of the military stuff too, because that's probably the most fun area to program in right now. in my opinion.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's kind of pivot a little bit into where MyHome's going, and let's talk a little bit about AI, because we're an AI-driven company, platform, and everything. So I'd love to hear the AI integrations and where we're going to take this.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of up in the air right now where AI is going to go, especially with a company like ours and software engineering in general. A lot of people are like worried about their jobs, worried about their companies, and rightfully so. I feel like there's a lot of companies out there right now that are just wrappers for ChatGPT or, a product and then everything behind the scenes is ChatGPT. And I think that, some of those will get eaten up by AI as it progresses, but MyHome is in a unique position because our idea isn't really like, oh my God, that's so groundbreaking. It's really like something that manifests the physical world with software. That like, there has to be that blend there that, maybe not for the foreseeable future, I won't say never, but probably couldn't get achieved by AI the same way that our platform is going to.
Right.
AI could suggest estimated costs or maybe even service providers, but it can't get that conversation rolling. It can't make the vendor select you.
It can't come to your house and do the work.
Right, it's not going to come and do the work yet. Hopefully not for a little bit. That'd be kind of weird. But I feel like we've chosen a good avenue to, kind of, I wouldn't say beat it, but work well with AI.
Yeah.
So the way I kind of see it working in the future is like, it would be so amazing, and I've had this problem so many times as a homeowner where there's wood rotten or something I don't know what it's called. I would love to be able to take a picture of my problem, describe it, and then ask AI how much it's going to cost to fix it. Do I have to hire somebody, or should I try this on my own? Tell me some recommended vendors in the app that I could use, and maybe even look at my schedule and tell me when I can do it.
Yep.
So I think that all right now is possible, and that's where we're going. And that's going to be, after we launch, probably the stuff we're working on the lab the most is just making it so if I log in and have some fascia board on my exterior of my roof rotting, I can take a picture of it, upload it, ask a vendor to come do it.
And MyHome will just know exactly who to book, how much it's going to cost, when they should be there based off of your calendar and the vendor's calendar. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think from there you can go to, potentially even building your own model, with all the data that we've got. And, all of the jobs that we'll have accomplished by then, I think we could say, if we can't build our own, at least fine tune others to really be helpful to the homeowner. So that's a feature that I can't wait to try out. And, right now I think it's close to being there just from a what's out there capability. So if we can tie all those loose ends together and put something in front of the homeowner that helps them quickly get a job done, even though they have no idea what's wrong.
Exactly.
It's really going to help people.
Yeah. And then you think too, like, it solves those problems, but it's also, predictive maintenance. Once that data is aggregated and the homeowner has their home maintenance hub and their logbook and they have all the information, we can build a model that would actually predict what they need to do next based off of their previous maintenance or, just like trends and historicals within the industry itself. There's a lot that can be done to make this completely hands-off for the homeowner.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting once we start preceding AI large language models with not only statistics about your home, but what your neighbors are doing, the seasons, the weather.
The geographic location, everyone,
Exactly. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we get out of that. And I think there's definitely not going to be anything that is regressing in this field. It's just going to keep getting better and better, and we have to stay on top of that.
Exactly.
And that's one field that I really love. So I think it's going to be something that evolves with the product that I think, as soon as we launch, we can start working with. So I'm really, really excited about it.
Launch in 2 months?
Yeah, August.
Oh, yep. On timeline?
Yeah. Timeline's August. Seriously, though. I think we'll be good.
Yeah.
I think we'll be good.
Yeah. So what are some of the... I love the AI discussion. If you want to keep talking about that, we can definitely dig more into it.
We'll save it for another podcast.
Okay, yeah. That's right. We got the three of you guys coming in.
Yeah. Check out the Nerd podcast for the AI Talk, too. You're welcome to pop in on that, too.
Yeah, I know. I definitely will.
It'll be good.
So what are some of the challenges that you didn't necessarily foresee when you were literally part of like the founding team here at MyHome?
Yeah, I mean, there's challenges with everything, and I think, it's more business problems, like challenges running a business and like seeing what you and Gabe do a lot, in my mind, is more challenging than us whiteboarding. I think from the tech side, there's always challenges with bugs and technology, and you've got to worry about your system and security more so than anything else. So there's those kind of things that keep me up at night. But like, I know that the harder problems to solve are the ones where, we're going out and telling vendors and homeowners about this opportunity and like how they're going to be able to use the app and take better care of their house and everything. So I just think, I haven't had many like surprise problems. I think it'll probably be more problems when we launch.
Yeah.
Did that one out. But no, but I really do think that the problems really come when you scale and when you have a lot of people. I mean, if there's 20,000 people using it at one time, that sounds like a ton right now, but that might be, nothing in a little bit. That might be just like overnight, people browsing. So, we'll see. We'll see what the problems are going to be. Right now, it's the unknown. We really don't know what the problems are going to be, and
yeah, that's very true.
We'll see. I mean, I don't anticipate problems. I anticipate like challenges and us like trying to figure out how to get around them. So that's kind of what I would focus on now.
Once again, putting our heads together, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, less like issues and bugs and more challenges and opportunities, I think.
Yeah, and I think we'll rely a lot on people who've done it before, mentors, advisors, doing our own research on go-to-market strategies, how to scale,
Yeah, and our network too. I know we've been building a really great network here too, which has been super encouraging.
Yes, definitely. Okay, tell me, we're almost done with it. Tell me one thing about yourself that no one here on the My Home team knows already.
Let's see here. I mean, what are you thinking? Like something that would surprise you?
Yeah, it could be literally anything.
I'm pretty good at golf, top golf specifically.
Okay. we know
found
that
now.
Out
this weekend. No, let's see.
Actually, Shami's really good
Actually,
at
Shami
golf.
is really good. Yeah, my wife's actually, don't tell her she's the best, but she's the best. I don't know. Something that would surprise you. I think, one time I got a job as a census, like knock on your door and ask you questions guy.
Yeah.
Got 100 on the test to apply for that job.
Wow. Did you have to like literally go door to door?
No,
I'm with the year's census.
I actually got my first job after I got that job, so I didn't ever even work a day. But I remember taking the test, and there was like a bunch of tricky questions. And then at the end of it, she's like, "Who is Joel Kronk?" And I was like, and she's like, "You got 100." And I was like, "Awesome." And she's like, "That never happens."
She's like, "You're a genius."
I was like, "Yeah." My buddy took it with me, and he's like, "How did you do that?" You got like a 60 or something. I love you, Andrew. But no, I don't know. I love to skateboard. I skateboard too. I am really good at throwing frisbee golf.
Yeah, we do need to do some sort of like My Home ultimate frisbee team.
Yeah.
I don't know, flag football team, softball maybe.
That'd be good. No, I'm not really that surprising of a guy. I don't know. I don't have anything good. I wish I had some good content for that.
Well, when we all get to work together every single day, we all know a lot about each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Already.
That's true.
The weirdest part was when I was asking Andrew, my brother.
What did you say?
He gave a really good story. We'll have to watch his.
Yeah,
about something happened to him in the military. It was actually really good.
Mine's lame. I don't have anything good. Sorry, camera.
Who's okay, so if you could have a drink or dinner with one person, dead or alive, in any time in history, who would it be?
Oh man. Let's see here. I really want to have a drink with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, wow.
I just think he'd be a good one to drink with, smoke a cigar with, hear some stories. He's just an inspiring dude, so I just tell him to tell me stories.
Yeah. Did you see his documentary?
The one on Netflix?
I think it was on Netflix. Yeah, it's like a couple parts.
It was really good. I've always liked
interesting.
Arnold. He did that 30 for 30 before his documentary. It was kind of like the same kind of thing, but it was really good.
Yeah.
I also would probably like to have a drink with some of the old school like Manhattan Project scientists. They just seem like a really, brainy bunch.
Yeah.
I'd really like to just sit back and kind of hear what they had to say. I never took physics in school. So
I wonder how much they actually knew about what they were doing.
I think that too.
Do you think they like compartmentalized each one of like the different groups and everything, and then they kind of put it together? Like,
I think so. And then like some of the older guys, like John von Neumann, I think is how you say his name. I've always said it wrong. He was the dude who was just really, really, really smart. Photographic memory. He was the dude who was said to have every clearance you could have in his pocket at any time. And he ended up dying of cancer at the very end of his life after studying at Los Alamos for a long time, after, just getting some particles in his lungs.
Yeah.
So, but he was the dude who really invented programming languages, the modern computer.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's super interesting.
If you look him up, he's really awe-inspiring. I don't know if he had any drinks, but if he did, I'd like to have a drink with him too, just to catch up.
All right, well, very cool. One last final question. What is like the one thing that motivates you every day to get out of bed and come into work and just every single day have just positivity and just go get it attitude?
I think it's just solving problems. The core of my career has always been solving problems, but like I said, I think at this scale with an app, you get to see potentially a lot of people using your work. And I really love building things with people that care, like everyone coming together and seeing their vision expressed in an app. Like, it might sound dumb, but it is a really special feeling to see your thoughts and your vision come to life. So I really want to see that happen.
Yeah.
And I really love a good challenge, and I also like working with great people. So
it's
pretty easy to get out of bed. I actually wake up early now to work. So
you are always the first one.
Yeah, I'm always online, and I'm always here first. So I really do enjoy working. I really do. I do enjoy spending my time on things I care about with people that I enjoy. So.
Well, it's incredible to get to know you a lot better and your family, and just have all of us. We're coming over for dinner eventually. Have the team over.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. All right, Joel. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So much fun.
Appreciate it.